Indycar is back on iRacing. Welcome to round 1 of the classic IndyCar series on iRacing. These are the race highlights for what turned out to be a thrilling opener to the championship. New drivers, new teams, a new damaged weather model make this one of the most engaging iRacing championships in a very long time. But before we dive headfirst into what the Circuit of the Americas had to offer, let's take a quick look at some important figures for the upcoming season. With the 10th running of the classic IndyCar series, the title of Drivers' Champion is more prestigious than ever before. Amongst 42 drivers, there are already quite a few candidates who might carry the elusive crown at the end of the season. Let's get you up to speed on who's in for the championship hunt. New Zealand's Cameron Dance came a bit short in last year's series, losing out to eventual champion Joshua Chin. Yet, despite the setback, Dance is ready to attack once more in 2024.
I mean, I'd be lying if I didn't say I want to win the championship. I'm obviously coming 7 points short of the championship last year was pretty disheartening, but at the same time, it was like second season, you kind of had to go on it going, what's going to happen? We know we've got pace, and in the end, it was pretty good for the most part. We looked like we were actually going to win the championship at one point, but just near the end of the season, it kind of went a little bit downhill. But yeah, that's the way racing goes at the same time. So, end of the day, I think I'd be happy with the podium again. Obviously, championship's probably the main goal, but we'll see what happens. It's going to all depend on what the competition's like. Obviously, a lot of top drivers are returning, a lot of new drivers as well. So,
of course, Joshua Chin should be considered one of the top dogs for the upcoming series, but the defending champion has only announced a part-time schedule so far. Depending on how the season progresses, the king of chins might either become an obstacle to overcome week in, week out, or return as a proper candidate for the title. 2018 series champion Henry Bennett is back as well, though he himself has doubts over a title campaign in 2024.
I would have hoped to have been this year, but unfortunately my schedule means I'm going to miss 3 of the first 5 races, so that's going to put a big dent into my campaign, and 2 of them being road courses, so unfortunately that's my drop and another race gone already for my road course total. So it's going to be difficult. I'll give it my best still, and there's still a chance even with being a race short, and hopefully I can make the rest of the season. But you know, I'm going to give it my best, but I think I'll just take each race as it comes this year because of the missing races. So.
Vortex Sim Racing might have the 2024 champion on hand. Lucas Laville is not only a 2-time CIS champion, but massively impressed throughout preseason testing as well.
I think just my track record speaks for itself. I think the experience as well in this car. There's nothing better than track time in any car, and especially in such a tricky car on road courses and setup dependent car on ovals. You need experience, and I think that plays for me for sure. We'll see. There's some new people in the league this year, like people like John Paquin, who've been running a couple races past few years in here and there, especially at Indy. Some of the oval specialists are really good because they can really understand car dynamics and setup work, and people like Josh Chin as well are very, very good drivers on both sides of the spectrum. So it's definitely going to be a very interesting season. I think we can put at least six drivers up there that have a real shot at winning this thing at the end.
He'll be teammates with Jan Hoffmann and Robert Grosser. Grosser himself being one of the admins together with Lucas Laville, as well as a 3-time Classic IndyCar Series champion. Finally, we talked to 2023 CIS Indy 500 champion Ethan Agan about his chances for a title bid in 2024.
I think so. I mean, I've finished top 5 in the standings the last 3 years, and winning the CIS Indy 500 last year was a big step, like, for my my whole career in this league. And I mean, of course, one of the main goals is to win that 500 again this year, but the main focus is to win the championship, which is my top priority at the moment.
Throughout the rest of the upcoming 2024 Classic IndyCar Series, we're going to let you know about the drivers, their interests, their inspirations, and their aspirations for the championship. But for now, we can gauge who might be in with a shout for the title. The question, however, still remains as to who's actually going to win the opening round of the championship at Circuit of the Americas in Austin, Texas. And to answer that question, let's hand you back to your commentary team of Austin Edstrom and Nolan G. Rempel, live on Green Flag TV.
Well, with all of that, qualifying is at its close, and we are ready to go racing for 60 laps around the Circuit of the Americas. Started on the pole tonight, it is the Scotsman Chris Knox for 5-Star Motorsports alongside Cameron Dance on the front row. Joshua Chid, your defending champion, starts on row number 2 alongside John Paquin. Ethan Aiken will be in the number 5 spot with Raphael Eckert in 6th. Jimmy Wilson is 7th, Johnny Garrett in 8th. BJO starts at the number 9 position with Andrew Wood to round out the top 10 of this field, Austin.
11th is going to be Hans Pitkinnon with Franz Josef Stum in 12th. Jan Hoffman's going to be 13th with Simon Hoffmann in 14th. Andrew Aitken is going to be in 15th with Rob Barkanow in 16th. Andrew Adair Saunders in 17th. Lucas LaVille in 18th. Brandon Dollar in 19th. And Randy Shoemake rounds out the top 20. Logan Simmons, Julian Altena, and Jonathan Diggs round out your 23 car field.
The pace car is down and into pit road. This has been a day that has been long awaited since 2023. It is my honor and a privilege to tell you the Classic IndyCar Series is back! Firing up towards turn number 1. Chris Knox currently has the lead. Dance looking for the right side. Trying to go around the long way into turn number 1. Down to the hairpin for the first time. Contact! Around goes the pole sitter. Chris Knox dumps it out of turn number 1 as the field tries to siphon through. And that's big trouble for the Scotsman early on.
Straight drama at the start for Chris Knox, tumbling down the running order after going spinning, coming out of turn number 1. Contact coming out of the corner with now race leader Cameron Dance, who had a great move around the outside, kept that thing all 4 tires on the racetrack, and I don't really think he did anything wrong. I don't think he shortened up his exit or anything coming against Chris Knox. I think Knox just might have thought that he was going to give him a little bit more room, and the 6 declined. He kept all 4 tires on the racetrack and didn't use any of the access road on the outside, and decided to just keep it on the racetrack. And I think that Chris Knox was unfortunately the one that got the short end of the stick out of that deal.
Brandon Dollar has also been spun around to the tail of the field. We'll take a look at both of those in just a few moments. Right now, Cameron Dance heading up the way as we fire into turn 11 at the hairpin for the first time today. Goes out wide, and that lets your defending champion Joshua Chin start to reel in the gap. No moves being made into the longest and hardest braking zone of the season. Dollar, though, almost spinning around a second time in that approach down to turn number 11 as Cameron Dance continuing to lead the way from the Circuit of the Americas, and it is looking like it will be the driver out of New Zealand who will take lap number 1 of the 2024 campaign. Let's take a look back and show you what happened to Chris Knox. This is on the approach up to turn number 1 as he tries to send it in deep and just tracks wide and gets into the side of Dance and spins it around, and then just moments later, Brandon Dollar with this problem in the middle of the Estes.
Oh, just looping it behind another car, following through pretty close. I don't know. That was just a pretty lazy spin coming into the apex of that corner. Maybe just tugged on the wheel a little too tight. But going back to the incident, lap 1, turn 1 between the 2 leaders, Cameron Dance, I just feel like Chris Knox wasn't expecting him to square off the exit so heavily, and that's what led to the contact. I'm shocked that Knox let it float out that far. You would think that maybe he would give a little bit more space himself, it being lap 1, turn 1, but you know, you live and die by the sword. And is this Knox again having issues? It was with Knox. Oh. That could be big damage to Knox as well. He hit pretty hard with the right front, and it jolted his car pretty heavily. I don't have enough experience with the IndyCars to know for sure how tight the damage model is, but anytime I've been in an open wheel car, they're pretty fragile, so I'd be nervous here if I was the driver of the 23.
He's going to try to commit for down the inside, and Logan Simmons will put himself up to the 14th position. So the iconic motorsports driver is into 14th, but now is to try to fend off Aitken all the way down the back straightaway. Down the inside at turn 1, he's going to go for it. And looking like Hoffman might have that spot done. Pitkinnon, can he go for the cutback through turn 2? He's dragging Lucas LaVille in with him. LaVille, of course, one of the champions for the late 2010s as well in this series. Side by side through the S's, doesn't work. And Pitkinnon hangs on for 11th.
That's tough through the S's to hold on there, side by side. The 8 holding on to that 11th place position, but just about challenging Hoffman for 10th. tight racing all throughout the midfield here. Sorry, I should say. But man, I just seeing them go side by side through the S's, I was a little nervy, thinking we were going to have a bit of an accident coming to blows.
That's Logan Simmons that has just spun off of the Iconic Motorsports car and just took too much of that curb and just nose that front wing into the Armco. Here's the fight for 8th. Andrew Wood trying to keep Chris Knox at bay. Knox takes it to the inside, and Knox up another place. Now to the top 8 as they work through turns 1 and 2.
I absolutely hate what happened to Chris Knox on the first corner, but I think it's going to be beneficial for the show, right? I think we're going to have something to talk about at the end of this thing. What an overcorrection there from Logan.
And that's
the 9-2 back-to-back.
And that's going to be a retirement as well. That car had the whole suspension destroyed. In the middle of the SS, took too much curb, spins it off, slams hard into the barrier. And that's going to knock the Onyx Motorsports machine down and out. So put now Franz Josef Stum, Logan Simmons, and Brandon Dollar all down and out. We're left with 18 on the racetrack. And the closest pairing of them all right now is for the lead. Dan Hoffman having a spin out of the final corner onto the front straightaway, carrying up that the throttle a bit too much, going for a full 360, keeps it rolling, and
we see it right now again. He just made the move for P8 not too long ago. We see the guy that he passed, Wood, back 3 seconds already, and now he's looking to the inside, taking it through turn 2. And then down into the S is Chris Knox moving up to P7, making it look easy. And I want to point out, also, this is rather beneficial for Chris Knox back there in 7th. 3 of the cars that are in front of him that he's got to pass to get back on the podium are all lined up, line of stern, single file, all under a second from each other. So if they get battling, it's just going to slow them up even more. And I'm telling you, with these Indy cars, if you get side by side here at COTA on this skinny racetrack, you're going to be giving up a good chunk of time.
That fight for the lead's closing in 2. It's down to a quarter of a second as well up the road. So the fight for the lead is still nice and tight as well as Cameron Dance trying to keep Joshua Chin at bay. And Dance so far has been doing a phenomenal job on playing defense. He has been keeping that number 1 car behind him all night long. And there's still a long way to go, though. Now the question is, can he continue to keep Chin behind? I'm not 100% sure on that one, considering how much Chin has been able to keep paces with him.
He's close enough here, coming down to turn 12.
Gonna make that lunge down into 12, this time by, he's in a bit deep, and there's gonna be Pavement trying to cut him back, but of course, hopped over those yellow anti-cut curbs, and he will not be able to make the look behind. Eckert trying to see if he can go for a run, but again, not able to get it done. So Ethan Hagen up to 3rd, and already starting to open up a gap. Look at how much now Pavement is starting to slide back, as Rafael Eckert trying to hang that one around the outside of 18. Not going to get it done.
Yeah, and we can already see that Pavement was holding up Hagen a good bit. Hagen's pulled out this gap a little ways, and I know Pavement had to defend once again to Eckert, but Ethan Hagen is stretching out this gap now. He's kind of solidified himself in 3rd place, and you got to think how much faster is Eckert than Pavement, and if Hagen is truly this much quicker than Pavement, how much quicker do you think Chin is than Dance? Because it took Hagen a ton of time to get past Pavement.
Luke Laville had a bit of a spin here. This is coming up through turn 10 and on to 11. Just lost the back end, spun it around, and able to get himself sorted.
Down into turn 12 is probably the best spot, but he's going to do it into 11. Look at him diving down deep, under braking, able to make the move, able to slide up across the nose. Perhaps a cutback coming to him. Wilson looking back to the inside, all the way down the back straightaway to 12.
Trying to hunt down the backstretch in this mega drive down to turn number 11. And Jamie Wilson trying to outbrake him, but Knox gets in deeper, and it looks like Knox might be able to hang that one around the outside. And Chris Knox is through into 6th.
But I really think that we're going to continue to see maybe a 4-car battle for 3rd here towards the end of this thing, or towards the more. And as soon as I say that, one of those cars just goes spinning. Pavement in the back just went spinning off, and now that Chris Knox is on his back bumper looking to go by, I think it's going to be what I thought was going to be a 4-car battle for 3rd. Is not going to be a 3, because I still think Chris Knox will get up there, and we've only got the 2 that you see up front there.
The 2 favorites to win the race here at COTA tonight. Wow, and around, we'll go to 74, and hard into the wall goes the Brazilian, and Eckert is out of this race. A hard crash out of the final corner will put Eckert down and out.
Oh,
much throttle.
that's very similar from what we saw earlier. Just lazy coming out, maybe a little lazy putting the foot down.
Has been the margin that I've been given. Sorry, 16 to 22 has been the fuel margins that I've been given by Andrew Adair Saunders. And well, right on cue, Jan Hoffmann into pit road.
Hoffmann being the first taker coming down. Gonna get 4 fresh tires, fill that thing up with gas to make this thing another 22 laps. Setting himself up nicely for the end of this race here.
And Lucas Laville is in as well. He's just going to drive straight through the box. So Laville with a drive-through potentially. Interesting to see there from Laville. So the Vortex Sim Racing car having some issues, as well as Simon Hoffmann, who is now into pit road after this incident at turn 19. Looping the back end of the 99. Locks it down, and don't throttle up too quickly there. He'll keep it out of the wall. And your race leader, Cameron Dance, the next driver in.
And this is where we really need to pay attention to Joshua Chin. Can he run a faster lap this time than he's been running this whole time? Now that he's in clean air, can he overcut, essentially, Cameron Dance? Can he somehow find a way to make this overcut work?
No!
Be leading it. The 99!
No! Simon Hoffmann in his debut start is off the track and down and out. That is big damage for Hoffmann. And he hopped the curb. Oh, man. Chin staying out. Now, Joshua Chin is a driver that very frequently, Austin, goes for the long overcut strategies. He likes to be on fresh tires than the rest of the field for a longer run rather than take the benefit of a short undercut strategy earlier.
Well, I want to point out, too, with him running this long, right, he's going to have, if he pits this lap, he'll have 2 laps over his main competitor for the race win, Cameron Dance. I imagine he'll come out behind Dance unless Dance is caught up in traffic. And I'm going to look at him real quick just to make sure. Nah, Dance has no traffic in front of him. So, from Joshua Chin, I think he realized it's just going to be really difficult on the racetrack with the dirty air as we see Chris Knox making another mistake. Pretty minor, able to get it back on the road, but he did lose a spot, I believe. He'll get back up there at one point. We were talking about Knox getting up there as we see the race leader coming in. Chris Knox will be fine. I still think he's got a chance for that P3 spot. He's got a lot of speed. But Chin coming in, this is where we really got to pay attention. Where does Cameron Dance come out of all of this? Where is he on the racetrack right now?
There is Dance, back of the shot, trying to see if he can get him out of pit road. Chin's out of the box, trying to gas it up for turn 1. This is going to be close. Oh, look out as they come out right next to the 27 car of Andrew Aitken, a lap car. But Chin's got the overcut, and he's to the lead.
That's huge. I didn't think that he was going to be able to jump him by that much. Dance was in clean air. I thought that he was going to be fine, but Joshua Chin used that overcut to perfection.
And looking like Lucas Laville may have just been the next driver to fall victim to the barriers as he has taken a tow to the pits. And whoa, look out as he spins it. And he backed that car into the fence. Chris Knox closing in more and more. There is the lunge to the inside at turn 1. Is it going to be too deep? Look at the cutback from Egan trying to sweep it by, and Knox loses it. Knox for a second time loops the back end in turn 1, this time on the exit. First time was with contact. This time he can only blame himself as he went for the lunge and threw it away.
Down into turn 1. This is opportunity. You got to dive out, dive down deep into turn number 1, make the move, make the pass, make it stick, move him up to P7. Hoffmann, heck of a move into turn 1.
24 car having this little loop, and same as what we usually see in this section, just taking too much of the curb and unsettles the back end. Goes for a lazy slide and gets it back rolling. Interestingly enough, going for the undercut this time. He went for the overcut last time. This time it's Dance to try to go long. And we'll see how this is going to pan out as Cameron Dance is into pit road and Joshua Chin working his way out of the final corner. He is definitely going to retake this race lead by a country mile. Not even in the same zip code right now. Dance going to be losing, looking like about 3.5 seconds or so. So it's about the same as what it was when they came into pit road. No real changes there.
Knox is coming out of 18 right now, into 19.
He moves up on the jacks. He's taking new tires. That's going to add a couple seconds to that stop. The 20 car off the jacks. He's off and away. There you see Knox coming out of that final corner. And it won't be enough. Ethan Egan stays in front, but only by a few seconds because there is Chris Knox right behind. And that battle going to be about 3 to 4 seconds between the pair. Dance has closed down another 1/10 of a second. That last lap, it was 8/10 on lap 45, 9 on lap 44. That may have been as a result of some lap traffic, though, because remember, Joshua Chin did just lap Andrew Wood as well as Johnny Garrett. So Chin still on a charge, but right now, Dance is trying to close this gap down. 1.8 seconds is the gap. Here we go. The battle for 5th is on. Jamie Wilson trying to see if he can have a look to get around the 24. And this is the battle back to a top 5 on the podium. They are catching up, so I believe that is Shoemake right in front of these guys in the Aero X car. That is Randy Shoemake. That is just in front of them now, so another car that they're going to have to lap. That's going to slow up McQueen here. It'll also slow up Jamie Wilson, and that prevents Wilson from having a look down into turn 11, but maybe down the backstretch into 12. He's got a big drive down the backstretch here, and look at McQueen going defensive to the right. Will go Wilson, and Wilson will get through. McQueen lifts to get in line, tries to get a drafting run back down the straight. He's not going to get it though, and Jamie Wilson into 5th. Cameron Dance, 4/10 gained last lap by, 2/10 lap 4, and about 1 to 2/10 on the 2 laps prior as well. Cameron Dance has found some pace, so he is starting to run down Joshua Chin.
I don't think he can run him down, but it's at least close enough to where if Chin makes a mistake, Cameron Dance is going to be there to where he'll be passing him instead of potentially getting to his back bumper if it's a big enough mistake. So this is not a big gap now. It's down to the 1.2, 1.3 second range. Cameron Dance is firmly there, and if Joshua Chin gets slowed up at all by this battle in front, he's going to have a really tough time holding on to this race win coming to the white flag. This is it between Joshua Chin and Cameron Dance, and the gap between Joshua Chin and these lap cars in front of him is not very big. Coming out of turn 20 right now, you're going to be able to firmly see him. He's probably going to catch him on this last lap and give Cameron Dance an opportunity.
Final lap for Joshua Chin as he starts to fire it up and around the racetrack. Meanwhile, McQueen trying to hang on. He still has 2 to go technically, unless they get lapped. Jan Hoffmann down to 3/10 of a second, and this gap continuing to close in your battle for the number 6 spot, while Chin has only got a second between himself and Cameron Dance. So 2 battles that are getting ever closer, and they are ready to explode. Dance is down to within a second as well in that battle for the lead. Lucky for us, they're both at the same spot on the racetrack, so we got a lot of places where we can just watch both these battles unfold in their entirety. Does Hoffmann go for the outside? He's going to go for the outside here around turn 11, lunging for it. He went for the move.
Hoffmann around the outside through 11. They make a little bit of contact. He gets the move done. That's going to force the 24 to the inside, allow Joshua Chin through, and Chin's got the draft, got the slipstream, so it's going to keep him in or allow him to build that gap up to Cameron Dance a little bit, but now he's got the dirty air from the lap car coming down to turn number 12. Can he do better through this slower section?
Boy.
Can he get a little bit of contact. This lap car was trying to let him by, and they almost came to blows.
Are they going to come through blows again? The battle for 5th is side by side. That's holding up Cameron Dance. Dance with nowhere to go. He almost loses it. Chin trying to hang on. McQueen takes the spot back for 6th. Oh, but it's now a last lap grudge match. Joshua Chin going to work his way into turn number 19, this time by. And after a dramatic final lap, Joshua Chin, with damage on the front end, is going to be able to steal away the race win in the Pavement Recycling Systems Classics, and Cameron Dance forced into pit road on the last lap as well. He'll finish it off in 2nd. Well, we'll get the chance to take a look at your official post-race results of the Pavement Recycling Systems Classic and the season opener of the Classic IndyCar Series' 10th anniversary season. It is Joshua Chin to come home, taking the race win. These are the qualifying results. Here are the official race results. Well, Chin will be your race winner at the end of the night, with Cameron Dance picking up a 2nd place finish. It was an automatic 30-second penalty post-race. Ethan Hagan will finish to round out the podium. Chris Knox was in 4th. Jamie Wilson was in the number 5 position, the last car on the lead lap, with Jan Hoffmann somehow managing to outlast John McQueen for 6th place and 7th. Johnny Garrett was in 8th with Andrew Wood in 9th. Hans Pitkinen rounded out the top half of the field running down in 10th.
Yeah, I was struggling pretty hard there. The pace really had fallen off in the 2nd and 3rd stint, and the 3rd stint was really just holding on and making sure Cam didn't get up to me. And then I I honestly don't know what was going on with John and Yan battling ahead of me. John let me go, and then Yan tried to let me go in a really awkward spot, and it's just I'm glad I had the margin on incidents to not get a penalty there like Cam did, but just really, really odd sequence and not something I expect to happen here.
It was it's a pretty wild way for you to kick off the season, and I know that for you it's a big day as well, kicking off your title defense with a race win here at COTA. Is this the start of some more big things for that #1 car?
Hopefully. Wasn't even planning on running today, just kind of a spur of the moment thing, and worked out pretty well. Setup was already a good spot thanks to Jamie and Andrew, and then just did some last minute tweaks and got it up there. I didn't figure I would have qualifying pace, and I was hoping the race pace would be pretty good, and thankfully it was. I was struggling in dirty air really, really badly the first stint, and the more I think about it, maybe it wasn't just the dirty air. It might have just been the track rubbering up and getting tighter and tighter, because the second and third stints were a really big struggle.
Ethan, heck of a finish for you today, finishing in that top 3, finishing on the podium, holding off Chris Knox, who was coming with a head of steam, man. Were you nervous seeing him behind you lap after lap? And did you think that he was going to mount a challenge, or were you pretty confident?
I was pushing for sure, but yeah, he was definitely coming up pretty fast, and I was running my fastest laps of the race at those last 10 laps, and I just got to make sure I did not make a mistake, and luckily I didn't, and I'm holding off to the end. It was a pretty good battle to the end.
Towards the end of the season, where are you hoping to finish whenever it comes down to Indy at the end of the year?
Well, I hope to win the championship, but I think that the main goal for me is just to get better on ovals. Ovals have been my weak point in this series. I've been way better on road courses. But I have a great team behind me, and they know what they do on oval setups and such, and we'll just go from there, and hope for the best.
What an absolutely phenomenal drive it was here in this one, Austin. I mean, this was, I think, a great way to kick off the season. It had everything you could hope for, right? It had the spills. Boy, did it ever have the thrills, and it had a lot of drama in those closing laps. Of course, Sonoma in 2 weeks, it's another track, right, that is extremely difficult to overtake on. It is a technical track. It is a demanding track, but it's also a track where, unlike COTA, there's not nearly as much runoff room if you go spearing off. So we could be seeing another war of attrition when we go racing in wine country.
Yeah, I think that's a safe bet. Sonoma's a heck of a racetrack. Absolutely beautiful out there. Can't wait to get these Indy cars, these classic Indy cars, out to the West Coast. It's going to be an exciting one over in Sonoma in a couple weeks.